We told my aunt that, we saw a bright flash, and we woke up. She said, well, I was just about to call for you boys. Been out there for 3 hours. We'd only been out there for, in our minds, 10, 15 minutes. I asked him, I said, hey, cuz, do you remember the blue flash? And he said, yep, and I don't like talking about it. Yeah, the blue flash happened to me 3 times, and it was all between ages of, I would say I was 9 to 12 years old, almost 13. The first time was in Toronto. Lived in an apartment building on the 9th floor, and I lived with my mom. She was a single mom, and my uncle was living there at the time. His name was Rick. He was sleeping in my room because it was only a 2-bedroom apartment. So I woke up one night and I could see that it looked like the stereo was left on. We had one of those old big silver massive stereo receivers with the big blue dial on it. So I went down the hallway to go turn it off, and when I got towards the end of the hallway, looked to the left where the stereo is, which is also where the balcony was. We also had a couch there in between the balcony. So you had the couch, the stereo, the balcony. When I looked around the corner, the stereo was on, and there was something sitting with its back against the couch, and it had a bald head, a little bit of a point on top. Looked like 3 or 4 fingers holding up the earmuff headphones, the big old 70s style, but just one on top of its head, on about this side of its head. The stereo, it seemed like that blue light in the stereo went super bright, like blinding bright. I've never seen anything like it before, like similar to like a lightning strike or a arc flash from a welder. I was frozen. I didn't know what to do. And when I saw it just slightly move and could hear weird staticky sounds on the headphones, I went down to my mom's room. She was in bed. I woke her up to go take a look. When she went to go look, the stereo was left on. And this is probably January or February, very cold, 9th floor, windy. The interior door was wide open, and the screen door to the balcony didn't have a window on it, was open. So she closed it all up and told me not to worry about it, that it was just my uncle. Must have had a couple of drinks, left the stereo on, left the door open. He must have went out for a cigarette. So the next morning we get up, having breakfast, and my mom gave her brother trouble for leaving the door open. He swore that he did not do that. And I said, Mom, see, I saw something. I did talk to her about this a couple of years ago, and she didn't know what to think of it. She said, well, maybe someone was just, what do you call that? A balcony hopping. And I went, Mom, 9th floor in the wintertime? I don't think anyone's doing that. She's like, well, you saw what you saw, right? So it was probably about a year or so after that, the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind came on television for the first time. Never seen it. And it got to the end part where the aliens come out of the ship, and I booked it. I was out of there. I'm like, nope. Because the heads kind of looked the same, and the long elongated fingers looked the same. So yeah, it's a great movie, but I have a real hard time still this day with that ending. Flash forward to about a year later, the next winter, I'm in Jerseyville outside of Brantford. My aunt and uncle lived out there, and my cousins lived out there. And one of our favorite things to do, me and my one cousin, is to go out and build a snow fort. We would go out into the ditch where all the snow was piled up, and we'd dig a tunnel. We'd start, it's kind of like a race. He would start about 8 feet away from me, and we'd work our way into an arc. So the object was to meet in the middle, see who can get there first. So we had our supper, went outside, started digging, and we got Maybe about 10 minutes into the fort digging, a blue flash happened. Neither one of us know what happened when the blue flash went off. So when we woke up, we were laying in the snow on our backs with our feet almost touching each other. And we both sat up at the exact same time, looked at each other, and panicked and ran into the house. We told my aunt that, we saw a bright flash, and we woke up. She said, well, I was just about to call for you boys. Been out there for 3 hours. We'd only been out there for, in our minds, 10, 15 minutes. We didn't know what to think. So she wrote it off as, maybe a snowplow had went by and we saw the blue light of a snowplow. But we were also told never to play in the snow when there's snow on the road, that the plows might come by. So that didn't make much sense. The next morning, my uncle said that there was some kind of power outage in Jerseyville, like something wrong with the electrical or car crash or something. And I still thought, well, how would the electricity going through the hydro lines pick 2 boys up at about 100 pounds each and move them and place them perfectly in the culvert? We kind of let it go because my aunt and uncle were fairly religious, so maybe they thought something bad happened and an angel saved us. Maybe. I don't know. And we were just kind of told, just let it go. So flash forward from that to my grandmother passed away, and I was with my wife. We went to the celebration of life, and I was talking to that cousin that I was with. And I asked him, I said, hey, cuz, do you remember the blue flash? And he said, yep, and I don't like talking about it. He, to this day, does not want to talk about it because it might trigger bad memories. But yet again, bright blue flash. Suppressed, held down, thought nothing of it, carried on with life. Life got really interesting after that. My dad was in a rock band, and they had a good album come out, and some money came in, so we decided to move to Nassau, Bahamas in 1984. I started going to school there. We lived there for 2 years, and it was the last year that I was there. It was probably a few months before we left, actually. I had a friend, Miles, who lived in the condo just down the hill from me a little bit. It was a complex with, going up the hill, so each side had a home at about 5 levels and then 3 at the top. We lived at one of the 3 at the top. So me and Miles, we got together. We played all the time. We'd go hang out on the beach, camp overnight, stuff like that. Just kids having fun, Now, there was a function for our school, and a lot of parents had to go, probably because it's like some kind of parent-teacher night or something like that. So Miles's mom, Patricia, she got had a babysitter come over. Everyone was kind of bored, so hey, why don't we play the Ouija board? Because there was a Ouija board in the games room. They had a closet full of games, and didn't think of, we were like, this isn't working, someone's pulling it, blah blah blah, right? And then it started to actually feel a little more like, no one's guiding this thing, and we started to communicate with something. We asked if it was a boy or a girl, and it started spelling out M-A-N. Okay. It got to a point where I think it was Mark asked, are you good or bad? So it started to spell out the word evil. And once it got to the end of the evil at the L, I have a hard time talking about this part just because it's pretty traumatic. So the Ouija board flew up into the air. All of our hands came off immediately, and a blue flame, we were on a bed, a big king-size bed, and this blue flash came out of the bed, right where the Ouija board was, and a flame shot almost up to the ceiling. Just a very small cylinder, almost like a welding torch had gone awry. And I immediately lost my mind. I went running out of there, down the hall, into the bedroom or into the bathroom that was in the hall, crying, because I'm this blue flash. How did it find me here? Because I thought, I'm not in Canada anymore. The babysitter had a glass of 7-Up or something, some kind of cola or whatever, and she went and doused the fire out, because it was still smoldering on the mattress. I left. I went back to my house. I never touched a Ouija board after that. We got in trouble. We were accused of smoking. None of us smoked. We were all too young. None of us liked cigarettes. Even the babysitter said no. They were playing on a Ouija board, and something happened. So it was kind of like a blame game. It must have been, somebody did something with a lighter or a firecracker, something like that. We didn't have any firecrackers there either. Something that wasn't a real regular thing to find in the Bahamas, back in '84. So I never went back to their place again after that. Patricia, the mom, eventually came over and talked to me and apologized, thinking that, we did something wrong, because her son just kept saying, no, Mom, this thing happened to us, and it scared all of us. Like, everyone's freaked out. It made me always think since then, okay, so we were playing on a Ouija board, but I still saw the same blue flash. So are aliens connected in some way to paranormal activity, like ghosts or spirits? Or, are they playing tricks with us? Is this what's going on? Yet again, it was just something I let go, and I buried it and didn't really talk about it too much for fear of, people casting judgment of mental stability or stuff like that. So, flash forward to being an adult, living in Kitchener-Waterloo. I've seen more stuff in the skies that I can't explain. Our cousins around the corner have seen the same stuff. I've had parties over here where we're sitting around a fire and see strange things in the sky. Not balloons, not drones, not planes, not helicopters, just unexplained stuff. As a matter of fact, I believe Kitchener was the most sightings for UFO activity in Canada or North America back in 2018, I want to say, 2017, around there. So at least some people are still looking up to see it, because a lot of people have got their faces down like this or staring at screens and missing some of the wonders of the universe that could be right around the corner from them. Yeah. The only time I get triggered by any of this would probably be if I was to walk in somewhere and there's welding going on and you see that bright arc flash go off. Lightning doesn't do it to me, but there's times where I get triggered a little bit. Nothing major. It just brings back those memories again. So, yeah, I can't really explain what they are, but I don't fear them anymore. I think I'm glad I had them. It opened my eyes up to, there's definitely more than just us floating around in the universe. There's got to be something else out there. To not think that, you're just kind of putting yourself in a box, right? Like, some people have suggested hypnosis, to try hypnosis and see if that can bring back any of the more clearer parts of those events. That I'm kind of skeptical on. I don't think I want to know any more than I already do. I don't want to find out that I might have been abducted and experimented on and all that fun stuff. I'm alive. I'm well. I've got a great family. So I don't think they meant to cause any harm, with my experiences. Otherwise, I don't think my life would be the way it is now. I know I've had an experience with my own children at a cottage when we saw bright orb coming over us and then lit us up and disappeared. And I know it's something they'll never forget. A lot of people, I think, are starting to accept it a lot more now too, just because of some of the more recent news involving UFO sightings. I've talked to people that have had sightings, need be ghosts or UFO. Even my own best friend's seen stuff, and he used to think I was crazy, but now he's like, no. If you can't explain it, it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. Of course, there's the whole bunch of the fake ones out there, and that's usually the people that'll run out and try to talk about it right away and try to get their 15 seconds of fame for a hoax or something like that. But I know in my heart, I've had plenty of dreams, I've had weird dreams, I've had lots of trauma in my life, but those 3 things with the blue flash, I will never, ever forget, ever. Get off your phone, get off your laptop, stop watching TV, look up on a starry night. You'll see satellites, you'll see lots of things, and then you'll see stuff that'll make you go, yeah, some of those stories might be true.